Welcome to a new careers webinar. I'm Laura Torres with Blue Star Careers. Thank you so much for watching. We will dive today with Team Ascend about why no resume is required. So stay tuned. But first, tell us where you're watching. I would love to be able to send you a shout out at the end of the segment. We'll go through your comments and your questions. And of course, we are going to be able to send a huge shout out all the way wherever you are because we are broadcasting on LinkedIn, Tampa. We are all the way in Jacksonville, as well as our sponsors virtual community. So wherever you are, we'd love to be able to connect with you and see where we can send you some love and appreciation for supporting. Now, but first, also part of this network, I want to be able to send you and ask you to meet me at the Blue Star Careers neighborhood, our new neighborhood where Careers is building a resource library with career-focused topics. And it's super easy access, so you must become a member if you're not one yet, or you can simply update your profile by resetting your password in case you forgot it. But anyway, that is all part of our new Blue Star neighborhood, and it's super easy with access. And this particular webinar will be stored there for you to be able to preview later on and share with your network. But without further ado, let's go and get started and find out why 75% of resumes are rejected before they reach the hiring manager. Yikes! That is something I definitely want to know. And Team Ascent will walk us and tell us why, with their particular talent and format, no resume is required. Plus, we'll have a ton of other services and supported resources that the collective is going to tell us all about. And other resources were just also how they support nonprofits through this process. So without further ado, let's get started. Thank you for watching. Team, the collective is in the house, and the Thompsons. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Welcome, team. High five to you guys all the way to the other coast. We're actually opposite of the United States when it comes to location. You know that, right? I think I just thought about that. So absolutely. And no resume was required, by the way, to get this webinar on the go. So yes, we'll get into all those topics in just a little bit. At first, I want to get just a brief introduction of our subject matter experts today and welcome them officially on this incredible webinar, and just an area that I'm really looking forward to listening and learning more about your organization. So welcome, Neela and Bruce.
Thank you, Laura. It's so wonderful to be here. So I'm Neela Thompson. I'm not only a veteran spouse, but I've been a family readiness officer for the Marine Corps. I'm a military and veteran family advocate, and I'm also the chief of staff for Talents Ascend.
And for
go ahead.
Thank you all for letting me join in the group today. Happy International Women's Day. I'm really excited to be here with two powerhouse ladies and join in. Bruce Thompson. I am first and foremost a military veteran, military spouse advocate. I run the nonprofit side, which is the Ascend Collective, and I can't wait to talk more about what we're doing to help the underserved communities. But let's let the boss talk first.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, by the way, for acknowledging Women's Celebration Day, International Women's Day today. Thank you. Very kind of you to celebrate together and take the time to celebrate with us on this particular great topic of that is a great challenge to our community, and I think to any job seeker in general. So, and I was and I'm always very just, it blows my mind all the time how much time is spent in drafting and tailoring a resume. But not only that, going through the application process, creating a profile, just in general, I think I would say maybe about 2 to 3 hours in an average that it will take for you to submit an application. Would you agree with me, Neela?
Oh, I totally agree. I am so anti-resume, especially now that we have Talents Ascend. So we were created in 2018 by another powerhouse woman, Robin Grable, who is a Navy veteran. And after 30 years of HR experience, she said, there's got to be another way. And she created it. I love talking about her because she's such an innovator for a brand new hiring process, the future of hiring. And like you said, we spend so much time on resumes, and we have to bend them and reshape them so they fit into those applicant tracking systems so we don't get filtered out. If you don't do that, we have found that 95% of veterans who apply through applicant tracking systems get filtered out. When we're talking about resumes and military spouses, and having come from that and been a military spouse, you look at my resume and it tells you all sorts of stories that aren't true. I'm not a job hopper. I've had to PCS. I've had to change job multiple times. When an employer sees my resume, they don't really see me. They don't see what I bring to the table. They're seeing a job hopper. They're seeing someone who moves around a lot, and maybe someone that they can't rely on. But that's so far from the truth. Military spouses bring so much to the table. They're so resilient. They're durable. They know how to change. They change and adapt to situations. They're some of the best employees you can have on your team. We're used to working with challenges. It's what we do. And so at Talents Ascend, with our AI-powered skills matching platform, there are no resumes, no applications, and no job boards. You don't even have to search. Hours spent on the resume, you can create one candidate profile in under 15 minutes and let it match to employers. Employers are putting job profiles into our system and they're matching to you. They're finding you. They're contacting you directly for an interview. So while you're using all those other tools, because we all talk about the tools that you need in your toolbox, let Talents Ascend be one of those tools that works for you instead of taking all your time to change your resume to match those job profiles that you have to do. I mean, hours. How many hours, Laura, have you spent on a resume?
I spend a ton of hours watching or reviewing resumes, and I'm always brokenhearted or just, because I run out of time sometimes over the weekend or even over the week to be able to provide feedback. And then one of the things, sometimes I have to route them or delegate to other partners who have the time and who do resumes and perhaps do them better. But I understand, it all depends on the application and what you're trying to get to your ultimate career goal. But I love that you are sharing, how this works. But tell me more. How does it really work? I go to your website, and then what? How am I? What do you mean? What do you mean I don't have to search for jobs? How is that going to work?
You are going to make a candidate profile. You're going to talk about what you've done and the skills that are associated to that. And we match you based on your skills, the skills that you want to use in that next career. There's a lot of skills on my resume that I never want to use again. So why would I want to match to an employer? Why would I want a job matching to an employer that is going to use the skills that I don't love to use? So when you think of Talents Ascend, I want you to think of the concept of like a dating site, but for employment. And we're going to match you to that employer that wants to use the skills that you love to use. So when you adjust your skills profile, you can put those skills you love to use, and then they can match. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to love the job that you have because you're using the skills that you love to use. When we adjust our resumes for applicant tracking systems, what we're doing is we're changing who we are. We're adapting to someone else. We're trying to fit in someone else's box. At Talents Ascend, we want you to create your own box. We want you to say, this is me, here I am. You want to hire me because this is what I can do for you. And employers are finding great success in finding candidates, not applicants, not 1,000 resumes that they have to sort through and figure out which are the best applicants. They're finding true candidates that want to do this job with these skills.
Now, I want to take just a little shameless plug, but also share that I somehow was matched to multiple employer opportunities when I went to create my profile a few months ago.
Oh, right. Laura, yes. So I look at reports. I'm like, look, Laura matched again. I wonder if she'd like this job. And of course, she's not leaving Blue Star Families. But you matched to so many great opportunities that were out there. And it's just, it shows you that the system works, that it's truly matching to who you are as a person. So I love Talents Ascend because it's a brand new way. When we PCS as military spouses, there's expectations. We find that job we love, and all of a sudden our service member comes home and they say, guess what? I got orders. So what do we have to do? We have to put in our notice to that job we love. We've got to get the house ready to move. We've got to get the kids, moved over and set up in their new schools. And once we get everything else settled, then we get to do that job hunt. With our platform, all you have to do is change your address, change your location of where you're looking for that next job. If your job is not portable, you just go in and update your profile, and then you start matching to opportunities in that new location. Look how much time we're saving you, because you could already have a job lined up by the time you get there.
And
Absolutely.
Real quick, I just want to chime in because Neela did mention it. How much does it cost a candidate to create a profile?
Oh, it's absolutely free.
Whoa, you're telling free? Wow. You don't have to write a resume. You're saving time. It costs you nothing. It has people finding you. I'm saying like these are all like positive checks. I can tell you, I was the hiring manager, or I had to go through and say, HR, give me 50 resumes. And I would read through them, and I'd find one or two people to talk to because the other resumes weren't, hitting the key skills. And so it was processing all that time I would waste trying to get to those couple of candidates. So I wish this system had been around, 5-6 years ago when I was on the HR side doing it, because I would have gotten straight candidates that matched the skills I was looking for and saving all that time. And I tell you, saving that time makes the recruiter, the talent acquisition, much happier and eager to talk to candidates that they know are a match. So it's a smoother process for both the candidate and the employer side. And if we can make that a smoother process, it is such a more positive conversation and method for us finding it. And that's what we really want to do, is make everybody happier when we talk employment, and not, employment. We have to do this. No one wants to do that. All right, I just wanted to chime in, make sure we talked about that wonderful cost of the program.
No, Bruce, I really appreciate that, because that's an important fact, is you don't have to pay anything for this service. Candidates create that free profile, and then businesses become members, and they just pay a straight annual membership to be a member of ours. They don't have to pay per hire or anything like other services may offer. We want, at the end of the day, we want our community to be hired. We want them in fulfilling careers that are going to make them happy. Because if you're happy in your work, that mental health is in better shape as well. So it's about creating that whole person. I do want to say that in October we expanded. We've grown so much. So we expanded and we opened up our platform. We did have another platform for people with disabilities. We've made one platform for all of our communities, and anyone can complete a candidate profile, but we give priority matching to our underserved communities, which, as it started off with, and truly where our heart is our military and veteran community. In fact, our entire team right now is either a veteran or a military spouse or both. So that's our team. But we also, in that expansion, we also created our nonprofit division, the Ascend Collective. And then, I had to nudge Bruce a little bit. I'm like, hey, we need an executive director. What do you think? And so I'm proud to work alongside Bruce as he is building our nonprofit division, the Ascend Collective.
And I don't think there would have been such a more powerhouse team, seriously, that Talent Ascent, Veteran Ascent, and the Ascent Collective overall would have been, would have filled with so much power. And not only that, but the community connection and the power to really drive this collective, this foundation, this organization into meaningful and sustainable opportunities for our military community, because you have it at heart. You have service for our community really at heart. You really take the extra mile. So thank you for doing what you're doing, for creating this incredible pathway for not only military spouses, service members, of course, and for individuals that are underserved, and potentially also community members who are with disabilities and have a little bit more of a challenge in maybe trying to fit into some of those specific roles or profiles. And not only that, saving us time to not have to worry about the resume, not have to worry about spending unnecessary hours, because let's face it, time is money. And when you are unemployed, you don't have the money to blow it off on 2-3 hours on completing very long and hideous profiles sometimes that won't lead anyway. I was completely mind blown, and I'm sure you see in your experience in talent acquisition and previous HR management. 75% will never make it to the hiring manager of these resumes. You spend 2 to 3 hours and you just never ever make it. And so that is just completely such a waste of my day or my time to do 2 or 3 resumes per day when I'm actively job seeking. It's totally it could be very intense on your mental health and very intense on your particular credibility as a professional.
And, absolutely.
And I'm just gonna, one of the things that is so frustrating with the hiring process currently is ghosting. How many times do you put all that time, effort into creating your targeted resume? Finding the position, writing the targeted resume, filling out the application, which 9 times out of 10 is just re-putting your resume into the blocks that they want you to do it. And then you never hear from anyone again. You don't even get a system-generated email saying, thanks, but we've gone with someone else. Well, with our system, at any point in time that a employer that's open, that you've matched with, and they open your profile up and they start the process with you, if at any point in time they decide that you're no longer a viable candidate for that position, they're required to give us some kind of feedback. Why did they decide to move on from you as a candidate? And whether that is you're missing a certain skill, whether it was you didn't interview well, whether it was cultural fit, whatever it happens to be, they give us the feedback and we give it back to our candidates. Our candidates actually find ways to improve. Oh, I was missing a skill? Oh, no, I actually have that skill. It just wasn't one of the ones I listed because we don't know what we don't know. So it's a way for them to go back and make that correction, improve, and get put back in there where they could be rematched and they could have another conversation. But there is zero ghosting with what we're doing, because that is, none of us want to have it. We've been there, we've done it. And most of what we're doing is because we see it's an issue. It's something that we don't want happening to us. So Robin, with her amazing algorithm and her plan, has come through and said, how can we improve this process so all those things that are the frustration, the roadblocks, the issues that make us not want to get back up into it again. How can we fix those? So that's a wonderful part of the whole platform program. And as we talk about the Ascend Collective, we talked a little bit about underserved communities. I want to really quickly hit for the Ascend Collective, we focus on 3 underserved communities. First one is Veterans Ascend. We were Veterans Ascend for the first 4 years. As we converted to Talents Ascend and made it open for everyone, we brought Veterans Ascend under the nonprofit side. And so Veterans Ascend, we service military, active, guard, and reservists, veterans, all eras, all service discharge statuses, military veteran spouses, and 18-plus-year-old military dependents. They all fall under the Veterans Ascend. Our second community focus is Ability Ascend. Simply put, anyone that has a disability. I don't care what the disability is. We want to work with that community of focus. And our third is Mission to Ascend. Individuals that have had a justice involvement and are looking to get back into the workforce. So all 3 of the community of focus are underserved, high talent, passion to get back out there and be a productive member of an organization. So this is where we go. And most of us, we don't have that magical, we started at entry level and we worked our way up. No, we have, I showed up, I did X job. And then I PCS'd and was told, oh, I'm doing this job. Oh, then I move over here. And our career paths are completely weird. I'm a retired Marine. One of the mottos of the Marine Corps is grow where planted. So that meant I started out as a motor vehicle operator. 6 months later, I was a maintenance management specialist. Then I was a platoon sergeant. What the heck is that? We all hear it, but what is that in the civilian world? No one knows. So it's going back through and explaining all of these other things. And one of the things that, as Neela talked about with the PCS and moving from one job to the other, those aren't smooth transitions. There's usually a date gap involved with leaving a position and starting your next. Well, if you're using a traditional chronological resume, those date gaps jump. And those are red flags for the applicant tracking system or for the human eye. But when we're talking skills-based, there are no date gaps to be seen. They're eliminated. So something that is very detrimental, we remove from the entire equation. So just one of those other positive things. So, when we talk about all the different things that this platform is here and built for, it's to answer all these frustration roadblocks that have been, career stalling points. So we go back through and do it. And Neela, I think we forgot to mention something about when we first get matched with an employer. Are there biases that we deal with?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it was heavy on my mind that I wanted to mention that employers only see you for your skills when they match to you. They don't see your name. They don't see any sort of demographics. They only see the skills that you match to, any sort of certifications you may have. They actually don't even get to see anything else about you until they unlock your profile. What does this eliminate? It helps eliminate those biases that they can have from your name, from any sort of demographics that might be on your profile. We don't ask for PII, so don't worry about that. But employers just get to see you for your skills. So using AI, we have helped organizations with their DEI. So our hashtag AI for DEI. So we can get people hired just for what they bring to that table, for that package that they want to present. So thanks for bringing that up, Bruce. I also want to bring up something that we announced recently. The Ascend Collective is now an approved skill bridge provider. So we're excited to build our skill bridge and bring some of those those soon-to-be veterans onto our team and show them the civilian world and how we're going to make improvements for their lives.
That's wonderful. That is such a great news. Even though we here through Blue Star Careers focus on supporting military spouses with multiple career resources, networking, and career connection, I do get from time to time, I would say 25% of my time sometimes, I get military spouses who are also anxious and just, feeling worry about their service member transitioning and not knowing how to find a job, not feeling connected, not getting the results. And I think this is such a great opportunity, knowing about you guys and the collective talent ascent for some of those service members who are looking for a way to maybe not have so many challenges as they transition, because there's so much that goes on when you are transitioning. You're trying to find, tell us, I mean, you know it, we know it, I know it.
That is so funny because military spouses are subject matter experts in finding careers. But who is the last person our service member listens to? I get this as a mentor in our community. I get this all the time. I tried to tell them that to use these resources and they won't listen. But so-and-so, Bruce over here tells them, and it's the first thing they do. If there are any transitioning service members listening, listen to your spouses. For your military spouses, it's not just your service member. They don't listen to us. They don't understand, and they won't understand until they get out and start doing this, that you are a subject matter expert in finding a career because you've had to do it PCS after PCS. We understand. We get that. That is part of our advocacy with the Ascend Collective. Our nonprofit division is trying to help our families transition, because transition is a full family affair. It's not a service member that transitions, it's the entire family that transitions. There's a lot of changes that happen when a family transitions out of the military. There's a lot of resources and opportunities you have as a military family, and that transition can be difficult because a lot of those disappear. Those gates close, and you have to rely on the community out here to get support for that. And you have military and veteran spouses out here to help you do that. So you're not alone. Your families, we have a community here that we've built for you, and we want to take care of you.
Thank you. And let me real quick just recap and still call on to our listeners. We do have multiple networks that we're streaming live. I mean, all the way to New York. Hello, New York. All the way to Tampa. And of course, our LinkedIn community and our Spouse First community. Please tell us where you're watching. We're going to take a few moments to send you a shout out, but also post your questions or your comments. If this is something that you think will be so helpful, or it could help you make your life a lot easier when it comes to job searching, please let us know. I had to refresh our chat, our comments, so we lost some of the early ones. But if you can please let us know, we'd love to be able to highlight and bring those over to our guest, the Thompsons, the Ascend Collective team, who is here representing the talent side, but also the nonprofit organization side, which supports other nonprofits and organizations like ours to find better ways to support our members, our Blue Star Career members. And we are so proud to be able to have this connection, and of course, to be able to collaborate and be part of the collective as well, in a little bit, in a tiny little bit. But I do want to go back to the resume portion of it, and talking about resumes and why they never make it. In your experience, either one of you, why would this be such a big game changer, or can be a game changer for a military spouse who is just, maybe going through, and I see these all the time, maybe perhaps we are running out of time, or we are moving to a new community, and we definitely need a job, like by the time we land there, by the time we open our doors, by the time we set our house, we need a job. Why would this be such a big game changer?
And I'll go through one of the biggest problems we have with resumes. There is no such thing as a perfect resume. People say, can you send me the format? Okay, well, there's a million different formats. It's what type of position you're looking for, what organization, and there is no one size fits all. I mean, if there's one size fits all, the 45,000 plus resources organizations that are out there to support would not be needed. but it's what is my pet peeves, my personal preferences as a recruiter, HR, talent acquisition individual, and they can be completely different than yours, Laura, or Neela's, and that goes as a huge issue. Then, we don't know who we are. We don't know what we want to do, and it's hard to find a job or a career path if you don't know who you are and what you want to do. I tell you, when I transitioned out of the service, it took me 11 months to figure out where I belonged. And I had jobs, and I had one job, great pay, great title, everything you'd ask for. 4 weeks. I lasted 4 weeks before Neela had to give me permission that I could leave, because I'd signed contracts. I served in the Marine Corps for 2 decades plus. It was everything I didn't want to do, and it was just killing me mentally and physically. But I was doing a great job. They loved me. But those were the things we had to figure out. So as I went through that search and, talk about, peaks and valleys and hitting rock bottom and figuring out where you are, it's a process. And most of us, one, don't know how to go through that process. Two, don't have time to go through that process. So as we're going through and trying to figure all these different things out, it's, okay, I want to work in the hospitality industry because I want to travel the world and I want to be a travel agent. Great. Okay, now we got to talk about what are your skills? What are your gaps? What are you entry level, above entry, supervisory? And you just got to start mapping all these different things out. Well, again, I don't remember a class in high school or in college telling me this is how you find a job. This is how you figure out X, Y, or Z. So all this stuff is kind of out there, and who do you listen to? And all that keeps coming together, and we call it the noise. How do you break through all the noise to figure out what is true and it's going to work for you? And the answer is you have to look internal. You have to figure out who you are. And as we figure those things out, now I can talk industry. Now I can talk about position. I can talk about who I am, what I want to do, where I am going to flourish. Not where am I going to get a paycheck, but where can I flourish? And that's what we want, meaningful careers, not jobs. And so as we put all those things together, you have to do all that before you can even start writing a resume. That's a lot of work. Oh my goodness.
Resume.
Then you start writing a resume and you're like, okay, do I use bullets? Do I use, skills? Do I talk in third person? Do I put a title on the top? How's the header? All these different things that come back for. And it's such a pain. And you can get lost so much in just the frustration that goes into it that you give up. And that's a big problem with resumes, is there's no right, simple way to do it. And people don't give you feedback. So, I'll put, this is why I hate resumes. This is why we don't use resumes. This is why I love Talents Ascend and skills-based matching, is we do away with resumes. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Neela because, again, everybody has their own pet peeves, perspectives. So I want Neela to talk about why she's not a fan of resumes.
And just a recap of why we don't use resumes. It's those history gaps for our military spouses. It's those, all the hours that are spent writing resumes that never get seen because they're either, people, HR professionals may have a bias to a certain resume structure because there's so many different structures for resumes, or applicant tracking systems can filter them out. But if you're using a skill-based system, you're matching to skills. We use matching for some of the most intimate relationships we have. You look at those dating sites out there, that's an intimate relationship. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you use that kind of matching process for finding a career? Make it easy on both sides, where we're not spending hours, where we can take that time back and we can spend it with our family. We can spend it doing something we enjoy and not recreating our resume 100 different times for 100 different careers.
Absolutely. And, when Bruce was sharing a little bit about, why he hates resumes, but also the process of going through all of that and trying to find yourself, find a sustainable opportunity, find a meaningful purpose, of course, as part of it, as we as we get more solid with our careers, and in a better word, I'm not saying it older, our needs change as well. And so maybe, I find quite often a lot of military spouses who within our community who are re-entering the workplace after 5 years or after a 10-year gap. They have their professional career, they had the professional education, they earn a master's, a bachelor's, and whatnot, and then they had to take a huge a long gap in between their employment opportunities, but they have been volunteering with very meaningful work and picked up, I'm sure, lots of key skills that could transfer and be transferable, such as with this particular system, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
So
it's definitely one of those ones, as we grow, we getting more experience, whether that's education, whether that's earning certifications, whether that's going from the the individual working and turning the wrenches to being the person in charge of the supervisor, and then being in charge of a department or manager. We grow, things change. As we talk about our abilities, sometimes we have an injury. That injury stops us from being able to do what we were doing, and we now have to completely readjust and say, I can no longer physically or mentally do X. How am I going to adjust or adapt? And sometimes that means a complete career pivot. Sometimes that means moving from a technical to a administrative role. And so all these things play a role in our development, our success. So, we at Talents Ascend apply those in the different aspects. And again, we have employers that run the gauntlet of all different industries, from entry level to executive level. So, it's not a one size fits all when we come back and do it. We have, you name it, we've got someone who's out there doing it. And I have to throw it out there. I forget what it was Jose asked about federal. Sorry, the federal government loves their own hiring process. So I do not see Talents Ascend being able to incorporate federal positions until
Yet.
the federal government decides that
Yes.
they would like to move away from USA Jobs and incorporate our skills-based matching. We'd love them to, but we just don't see that in the foreseeable future. But we're open if they want to talk.
And I got to say, there's some really great questions in the chat. We have twice a week we do a weekly walkthrough. So maybe we're not giving you the idea of how the process works. You can actually watch it live. We have a teammate who goes in there and shows you the process of creating your profile, gives you a peek of the business side so you can see how the program actually works. And you can get the best tips you can from our live person. Not to mention, it's a great opportunity to ask all those questions you may have. So every Monday and Wednesday, you can jump on a weekly walkthrough, which you can find on our websites or on Eventbrite. But if you're a business owner, you can also jump on the Live 360. That's the business side of the house where you can see how that side of the house works as well.
absolutely. And I did share the link, by the way, to Talent Ascent as well as the collective in the comments. So whatever you are watching from, please feel free to reach out, as well as you can always meet us at the neighborhood, and we'll have all of those resources for you. Be sure that you head over to our new Blue Stars Digital Careers community. And all you have to do, very simple, just update your profile as a Blue Star Families member, or create one. And it's very simple. And then voila, you'll have access to a research library, discussion forums, and be able to share with us a little bit more about yourself as well. And now, I do want to take this moment, of course, Neela, as we're running out of time, to acknowledge some of the shout outs. And I'm going to be looking back and forth here because I have two monitors. And also
Laura, can I do one of the shout outs?
Yes.
There's someone here from San Diego who I absolutely adore. She used to be a family readiness officer as well, and I saw her in the chat. Christine Winnicky, thank you so much for joining us. It's so exciting to see you, and she's doing great things with Cohen now, and I cannot wait to see what she does.
Excellent. And I just posted there her comment. She's actually watching on LinkedIn. Thank you, Christine. And then, well, of course, we have Berenite. Also, she's in our Facebook group. And then we also have another LinkedIn user who has shared. Thank you. This is a very smart way. Thank you for sharing this, of course. And we hope that you also go and share it for us and pay it forward to your community. Also, shout out to all the way to the folks over in Salt Lake City. Even though we're not streaming directly on Salt Lake City, we welcome you. Thank you for watching us in one of our group page. And this is the question you were talking about earlier today, Bruce, about Jose asking about federal positions. And I guess the best way to do it is just to go through the Skill Bridge program. I mean, that would make more sense if he could still do it. You go through the Skill Bridge program and break it in there, right?
And so SkillBridge is not incorporated with the federal government positions, but there are the government contractors that use SkillBridge. So again, there's a million ways to work and get into different aspects. You just have to figure it out. And there's my favorite person right there, Leslie Coffey. You know, got to get that love out to American corporate partners and everything that they're doing. But she's one of those awesome, rock star military spouses and just women out there killing it. So I really appreciate her giving us a few minutes of her time and watching. But as we come through, it's to have an open mind about different aspects. You know, we might have to, quote unquote, get your foot in the door. But with a lot of those underserved communities, and we have individuals that have incredible talent that are looking for an opportunity to prove themselves. I tell people, bet on yourselves. It's okay to, take a position where you might not, say this is the right level or role for me. Get in there, prove yourself, and that organization is either going to embrace you and promote and really encourage, or you're going to be able to gain some of that experience, and you're going to do what so many do, is you're going to go find someone who does appreciate you, your value, your worth. So it's about finding opportunities for you to grow. It's about finding organizations that are going to embrace you, that are going to go in and have a culture that is empowering, that wants to have you grow with them. I will tell you, the Ascend Collective, and Talents Ascend, we're based on a work culture that is all about making sure culture is utmost. Robin has come out and said, we will not give up our culture for a shortcut or for, this quick payday. It's not what we do. We're building something that is going to last. We are building the future of hiring. It's not one of those ones we're here today. We want to show you it's possible. We want to get rid of the resumes. We want to get rid of the applicant tracking systems. We want real people having real communications, conversations about opportunities. That is what we're trying to do. That is what the human element is meant to. And we can all say, we want the technology and everything else, but we're always going to be in the people business. And just look, the three of us, we're always San Diego. We moved to Jacksonville before we got to meet you, but it's still, we have those connections. And as we're giving the shout outs, there's a lot of people that we've worked with and we've gotten an opportunity to meet.
And I want to shout out, speaking of that, I want to shout out to Kelly Stool over here, who now works for Fleet and Family, but is a huge Blue Star Family volunteer here in the Jacksonville area. Talk about an advocate. Kelly is an advocate. So Kelly, it's nice to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. And every time I hear you, both of you, also Kelly and Team Jacksonville, I want to pack my stuff and just head over to Jacksonville and go with you guys. I swear, it's such a great community, so empowering. But definitely, we love connecting with you and continue to collaborate. Let me just take one more moment to acknowledge our team over in the Spouse First community. And so, Jenny Colon, thank you for watching. Diana Olguin, Amber, thank you. And we have more member Julie, of course, Amber, Julie Shepard. Thank you so much for watching. and we have Sam Brandley, Kayla Samuels. I mean, we have a lot of Spouse First team members out there watching and supporting. And we did have a couple of questions. And of course, I will encourage you, Team Collective and Team Unsent, to go back to our comments. And if you can please kindly reply to those individuals privately, directly, that would be super cool if you can do that. I will share Bruce's LinkedIn, and of course you can find Neela on LinkedIn. All you have to do is just Google or search Thompsons, and you'll find both of them. I mean, that is absolutely no loss. But before we just wrap it up, I do want to give you guys an opportunity, just 1 minute to call to action. What's next? What should we walk away with this particular discussion, and what should we know? Thank you.
Go build your profile. Go build your free profile. See how it works. Talk to us. Go to a walkthrough so you can ask questions and have that one-on-one time with our team. But there's no reason that we have to continue using resumes when we're moving. Did you know the resume was created in 1482? 451 years we've been using resumes. Don't you think it's time for a change?
Time for a change, yes. However, there was still some employer partners that will still collect that resume. So let's not discourage everyone completely. But for this particular service, for the Ascent Collective and Talent Ascent, definitely no resume is required. Of course. Bruce?
And it's definitely one of those ones where I'll tell you, you create your free profile. You are never signing a contract with us saying that you will use us and only us. We are another method to find meaningful employment opportunities for you. So create your free profile, see what you match with, see what opportunities go about. Continue your traditional job search. You don't know where you're going to find your next opportunity. Network, have those conversations. If you see me, I'm going to explain to you what an elevator pitch is, because in an elevator, I will ask you, hey, who are you and what do you do? I'm one of those reasons why they call it the elevator pitch. But you have to have conversations. We have nationwide opportunities, and employers are joining us, every week. We're having new ones. So create your profile, see what it leads to, and most importantly, sharing is caring. Let other people know that we're there. If you have organizations that are looking to hire their new employees, tell them about our structure, how we might be something different. Small businesses, we've got a great partnership with Wells Fargo to help reduce the cost of the subscription, of the membership for the year. So come and see what that's about. Do the live 360, do the walkthrough. All we're going to tell you is, if you see me and Neela here, it tells you that we're a firm believer in what we're doing, because we wouldn't be here if we weren't. We, first and foremost, are taking care of our military veterans and our military families. And, it's a passion to serve and to make sure that others don't struggle like I did 11 months to figure out where I belonged. With Neela, every time she had a great job that she loved, I would come home and say, hey, guess what, honey? We've got orders. And she'd roll her eyes at me and say, well, you might be taking those set by yourself. And I was like, whoa. But no, it's the whole veterans helping veterans, the community taking care of each other. That is what it's about. That's what we're here for. And again, we have an incredible founder and CEO who was told her service didn't translate, and she spent 30 years figuring out everything that was wrong and finding the answers. So that's what we're here for. That's what we do. Check us out. Take the walkthrough. We're here. Ask us questions.
Follow us on social media.
Absolutely.
Our military families take care of each other, and that's whether you're still serving or not. We're here to take care of each other. So reach out and let us help.
Absolutely. And if anything, at the end of the day, you can always meet them and find them at our neighborhood. At a new Blue Star, it will have and upload your resources at our digital community so that people can find you in case they forget, or in case they're scrolling up and down the social network and they cannot remember the webinar or the name of the collective, Talent Ascent, or anything. for sure, I will make sure that I'll share your resources, your flyers, and all of your information directly in our digital community. So, but we're running out of time. We're definitely out of time, way over extended time. This has been so enlightening, such a great conversation. Thank you so much for empowering us and for believing in our community, but most importantly, for dedicating your time to serve our community and really find sustainable, meaningful career opportunities, but without the huge hassle of the challenge and the roadblock, which is the resume. Although there will be some of us still some employer opportunities and employment links that I will share throughout our network that will still require your resume. But if you go to Talent Ascent and you meet up with Neela and Tom and Bruce and the Thompsons, you will not need a resume, of course, at all. So thank you so much, team, for supporting today. And thank you for everyone who shared a comment. Please pay it forward and go ahead and meet us in the Blue Star neighborhood. Thank you.